Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a topic that quietly shapes every serious conversation we have. Truth. Why does it matter? Because truth is the foundation of everything. From analyzing scientific data and evaluating medical claims to navigating personal relationships, and most importantly for today's discussion, psychotherapy. In this video, I'll break down three major theories of truth with a focus on the correspondence theory, which I personally favor. Later on, I'll also explore counter-arguments from postmodernist perspectives to offer a balanced view. You can find a full list of references and supporting sources in the description section below. At its core, psychotherapy is a search for truth. Whether it's cognitive behavioral therapy, intensive short-term dynamic psychotherapy, or another modality, the goal is often to uncover the truth of the individual's experience while helping them develop greater perspectives and a clear relationship with reality. This clarity and perspective allow them to better engage in the process of living. Part of the work involves guiding clients to distinguish between past and present, such as recognizing the difference between an annoying coworker and a parent whose behavior caused deep anger, or between a disappointing spouse and a parent who may have failed in their parental obligations. In cognitive behavioral therapy, this often involves examining the accuracy of a belief and how it influences present feelings and actions. In intensive short-term dynamic psychotherapy, as Davanloo emphasized, the focus is on helping the patient face the ugly emotional truth, or, as he pronounced it, the truth. He also pointed out that the ISTDP therapist is not to be put off by the patient's evasions and half-truths. This ability to confront what's real, whether in therapy or in life, has profound implications for healing, growth, and navigating the world effectively. Truth isn't only necessary for therapy, it's essential for untangling the emotional and ideological fog that often clouds our understanding of life. If we can't separate a valid truth from something that merely sounds true or emotionally compelling, we risk being misled, not just internally, but in the wider world. In today's information-heavy society, where we're constantly bombarded with data and opinions, achieving clarity about the truth has never been more crucial. This isn't just a matter of abstract philosophy, it affects our daily decisions and personal growth. When we misunderstand or avoid the truth to spare feelings, we not only stall individual progress, but also undermine the collective pursuit of knowledge. Solving problems in therapy or in life requires us to get to the core truth of what's causing the issue. Take the example of a business consultant. To resolve interpersonal issues in an organization, pinpointing the root cause is essential. Is the problem a leader who struggles with taking criticism and feedback, or an employee whose behavior creates inefficiencies? Getting to the truth of the situation is the only way to implement effective solutions. The same applies in psychotherapy. In individual therapy, the work may involve helping someone face their true feelings, which, while uncomfortable, ultimately leads to liberation. As the saying goes, the truth sets us free. Facing it is the key to overcoming symptoms, healing, and moving forward in life. James Ladyman, in Understanding Philosophy of Science, points out it is only by understanding the philosophical foundations of science and truth that we can hope to navigate the complexities of modern life intelligently. Whether in therapy, business, or daily decision-making, our ability to recognize and face the truth has real-world consequences. Let's start with the correspondence theory of truth, which states that a belief or statement is true if it accurately reflects reality. For example, if I say, "The sun is shining," the statement is true only if the sun is indeed shining. It's about whether our statements match or correspond to the facts they refer to. Philosophers such as Aristotle and Bertrand Russell have been major proponents of this theory. In the realm of science, Karl Popper expanded on this by stressing that scientific theories must be falsifiable to claim truth. According to Popper, a theory is meaningful only if it can be tested and potentially falsified through evidence. While Popper emphasizes empirical testability, the correspondence theory is broader, holding that truth is tied to whether a claim aligns with reality, regardless of whether it can be objectively verified. In essence, the correspondence theory focuses on how well a statement corresponds to the facts, whether those facts can be directly measured or not. As philosopher James Ladyman points out, without some commitment to correspondence, science and our understanding of the world would lose its foundation. For scientists, truth is about mapping theories onto observable reality. Let's add some more meat to the bone. Imagine walking into a forest, seeing a stream and saying, "There's a stream here." This statement is true because it corresponds to the physical reality of the stream flowing in front of you. Simple enough, right? But what about truth claims related to emotions or subjective experiences? If someone says, "I feel anxious," we encounter a different application of the correspondence theory. Although emotions are internal and subjective, the statement can still be true if it accurately reflects the speaker's internal reality. Emotions, though not physical objects in the world, can still be real and true within the subjective experience of the individual. This brings us to an essential distinction. While both external facts and emotions are real, we verify their truth differently. For external reality, we rely on observable, objective evidence, like seeing the stream. For emotions, we depend on introspection and the sincerity of the individual's experience. In both cases, truth is grounded in reality, but the method of verification, physical evidence versus introspective awareness, differs. To summarize, the correspondence theory asserts that truth aligns with objective reality. This applies to both the external world and a person's internal experiences. Whether we're discussing physical facts or subjective feelings, the key is accuracy and how well a statement corresponds to the reality it describes. The pragmatist theory of truth, championed by thinkers like William James and John Dewey, suggests that a belief is true if it works, if it has practical value and helps us navigate life. Here, truth is less about directly matching reality and more about whether a belief helps us achieve our goals. Take the example of the tooth fairy. For a child, the belief adds wonder and encourages good dental habits. From a pragmatist perspective, the belief works for the child and is thus true, even though it may not be objectively real. In business, a company might adopt a management strategy like open office layouts, believing it will boost collaboration. If this leads to more teamwork and problem solving, The strategy is true in a functional sense, even if it doesn't universally guarantee better results. In psychotherapy, consider someone who shifts blame onto others to avoid feelings of shame and distress. This defense mechanism works emotionally in the short term, but it doesn't reflect the deeper truth. For long-term growth, the person must take responsibility for their role in their struggles. While external factors may contribute to distress, using defenses like this can obscure personal accountability. The pragmatist theory has its limitations. Just because something works doesn't make it true. For example, someone receiving a serious medical diagnosis might avoid confronting it to reduce anxiety. While this might help emotionally in the short term, neglecting the truth could delay necessary action and lead to more significant pain in the future. As Viktor Frankl noted in Man's Search for Meaning, real growth requires facing reality, not avoiding it. Coherence theory of truth. The coherence theory of truth suggests that a statement is true if it aligns well with an interconnected system of beliefs. In this view, internal consistency within a belief system is emphasized over direct correspondence with external reality. For example, in a legal system, a new law is valid if it fits with existing laws and principles. Similarly, a belief may seem true if it fits within a network of other beliefs, even if it doesn't align with objective reality. However, this theory has its limitations. Consider conspiracy theories, which often form internally consistent belief systems where events are interpreted to reinforce a central idea. While coherent, these beliefs may be detached from objective reality. Coherence alone does not guarantee truth. It must be paired with correspondence to real-world evidence. In psychotherapy, a client's belief system may be internally consistent but distorted. For example, someone with depression may hold beliefs that reinforce feelings of worthlessness, which fit together logically but don't reflect objective truth. Therapy often challenges these coherent but distorted beliefs by introducing perspectives grounded in reality. As philosopher James Ladyman points out, coherence is vital in fields like mathematics and logic. However, in real-world situations, internal consistency must be tested against empirical evidence to avoid distortion. Summary: coherence theory emphasizes internal consistency but must be paired with external verification to ensure beliefs reflect the truth of the world. Why prioritizing truth over comfort matters. Now that we've explored these theories, let's return to a central theme. The search for truth should generally not be sacrificed for the sake of emotional comfort. Whether we're talking about the comforting myth of the tooth fairy, or a more serious belief like denying a medical diagnosis, indulging falsehoods ultimately leads to harm. As Ladyman argues, truth is not negotiable if we are to make sense of the world and solve the problems we face. The same principle applies to our emotional lives. Denying the reality of what we truly feel, whether it's grief, anger, or remorse, might provide temporary relief, but it often backfires in the long run. Repressing or avoiding difficult emotions can lead to greater internal conflict and mental health issues, such as anxiety or depression. For real emotional healing and growth to occur, we must confront and accept the truth of our feelings, no matter how uncomfortable they may be. Once we can face and process our feelings, greater perspective and clarity of thought will follow. Emotions that have not been processed have a tremendously obscuring effect, where we tend to become reactive and clouded in our thinking and perceptions. When emotions remain unprocessed, we get stuck in the past, filtering the present through unresolved experiences. Instead of seeing situations for what they are, we interpret them through the lens of past events we have not metabolized or overcome. Until we work through those feelings, we are bound to keep projecting unresolved emotions onto current experiences, preventing true clarity and growth. Avoiding uncomfortable truths, whether external or internal, does more than prevent intellectual and emotional growth. It undermines the very foundation of knowledge and self-awareness. Immanuel Kant, in What is Enlightenment, argued that growth comes from the courage to confront reality as it is, even when it challenges our preconceived notions. Shielding ourselves or others from truth only stifles that growth. Counter-arguments and final thoughts. Some might argue that truth isn't always the highest priority. Sometimes emotional well-being or social harmony might seem more important. For instance, do we always need to tell the uncomfortable truth if it risks causing pain or disrupting relationships? It's easy to understand how a comforting lie might feel more compassionate in the moment. However, comforting lies may offer temporary relief, but they ultimately erode trust and undermine the foundations of both personal and societal relationships. A more philosophical challenge comes from Friedrich Nietzsche, who, in On Truth and Lies in a Non-Moral Sense, argues that truth is often a construct created by humans for convenience or control. He questioned whether our pursuit of truth is genuinely about understanding or more about imposing order on a chaotic world. Similarly, thinkers like Michel Foucault argue that those in power often shape truth to maintain control. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche suggests that established truths frequently serve the powerful, enforcing conformity. These critiques raise the question: if truth is shaped by power, how do we know what to trust? This concern leads to a more profound issue, often associated with postmodern critiques of truth: the risk of slipping into relativism. Postmodernists like Nietzsche and Foucault point out that if truth is subjective and shaped by power structures, then competing groups could each assert their own version of truth. Without a shared framework, how do we navigate this multiplicity of narratives? Nietzsche himself acknowledged this tension, famously declaring God is dead in The Gay Science. This metaphor illustrates the collapse of the singular, overarching truths that once shaped our worldview, leaving us to navigate a complex, often contradictory reality. While Nietzsche was undoubtedly brilliant, his reasoning can be self-contradictory at times. For example, when he dismisses the concept of absolute metaphysical truth as absurd and artificial, he employs a truth claim to deny the existence of truth itself, creating a contradiction in his own argument. In the midst of all this complexity, we cannot afford to slip into complete relativism. While it may be tempting to view truth as entirely subjective, shaped entirely by individual perspectives or cultural contexts, abandoning commitment to objective reality leaves us with no stable ground for meaningful discussion or progress. The search for truth, even if complex, remains critical. Without a shared commitment to truth, society risks devolving into a landscape where competing groups assert their own truths, leading to conflict over whose version of reality prevails. In such a scenario, dialogue and rational debate break down, and power rather than reason or evidence becomes the deciding factor. This reduction of discourse into power struggles threatens to replace collaboration with factionalism, as each group seeks to impose its narrative on others. Furthermore, truth can serve as a check on power. When wielded properly, truth becomes a tool for holding those in authority accountable, exposing abuses of power and promoting justice rather than control. This highlights that truth, when guided by ethics and grounded in reality, can challenge power instead of being subjugated by it, and instead of truth being an instrument of oppression. Some critiques of power, particularly in postmodern thought, can fall into the trap of overgeneralizing. While it's true that power can lead to oppression and abuse, some critiques risk conflating all forms of authority or power with oppression. In doing so, they can imply that because truth can be shaped by those in power for self-serving purposes, this must always be the case. This is not sound reasoning, as it conflates specific instances where abuse of power and truth are intertwined with an assumption that they are always intertwined. This fallacy, generalizing from some instances to all, is a key issue that we must challenge. Not all uses of authority are oppressive, and not all assertions of truth are manipulative or domineering. Power, when used skillfully, ethically, and responsibly, can serve to uphold fairness, protect individuals, ensure justice, and promote healing and wellness. For example, in the fields of science and medicine, authority grounded in expertise and evidence is often essential for making informed, ethical decisions. A medical diagnosis based on empirical tests, for instance, is not an instance of power being wielded oppressively. It's an application of truth in the service of human well-being. In conclusion, while Nietzsche and Foucault remind us of the complexities and potential for abuse surrounding power and truth, our task is to engage with these challenges head-on. In this endeavor, the search for truth must remain our North Star, a lighthouse in the fog of uncertainty and obfuscations, guiding us through the turbulent waters of doubt and deception, ever committed to what is real. Whether about external facts or internal emotional states, truth remains vital to our ability to navigate life, make decisions, and build trust in our relationships. Though the pursuit of truth is never simple, it is a journey we cannot afford to abandon. This turned out to be a pretty long discussion. I hope you got something out of it. Feel free to let me know what you think about all of these issues. Till next time, take care. Bye for now.